Your Excellency, Sir S. W. Tapley Seaton, GCMG, CVO, QC, JP, LLD, Governor General of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Your Honor, Mrs. Hyleta Liburd, M.H., OBE, Deputy Governor General for Nevis, and Mr. Liburd. Other honorable members of the Federal Cabinet and the National Assembly. Honorable Farrell Smithen, President of the Nevis Island Assembly. Ambassador Vance Emery. His Excellency Ambassador Michael Lynn, and other members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, permanent secretaries and other senior government officials, Lieutenant Colonel J. Anthony Comrie, Commander of the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense Force, Mr. Leroy Brandy, QPM, Commissioner of Police, Mr. D. Michael Morton, CBE, JP, and Mrs. Morton. New Year honorees, family and friends of the awardees and other specially invited guests. Reverend Jeremy Thomas, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Government House. We are happy and very delighted to have each and every one of you here this morning to celebrate our New Year honorees. I now invite Inspector Hendrickson forward to give us the formal introduction.
Protocol having already been established, good morning. On behalf of His Excellency the Governor General, Sir S. W. Tapley Seaton, GCMG, CVO, QC, JP, LLD, I welcome you to this investiture. I now take pleasure in giving you a short commentary on the proceedings for this investiture. In a few moments, the flag bearers will enter the ceremonial area and proceed up the aisle to the stage and take their positions on the stage. Shortly thereafter, the Governor General, accompanied by his ADC, will enter the ceremonial area and take his place on the stage. You will be asked to stand when the Governor General enters the area. The national anthem will be played. After the national anthem is played, the invocation will be given by Reverend Jeremy Thomas. And thereafter, you will be asked to be seated and the investiture will begin. The awardees will be announced. They will enter the ceremonial area and proceed up the aisle onto the stage and stand directly in front of His Excellency and receive their insignia. Having received their insignia, His Excellency will have a short chat with them, and thereafter they will be escorted to their seats. Then the profile of each awardee will be read, after which the respective awardee will stand to be acknowledged. After the investiture, the Honorable Prime Minister will deliver remarks, and thereafter you will again stand for the playing of the national anthem. After the national anthem, His Excellency the Governor General and his entourage will remain on the stage. At the end of the proceedings, there will be light refreshments for guests to take with them. A photographer will also be available to take any photographs if anyone so wishes. Thank you. Could everyone please stand for the award? I now invite Reverend Jeremy Thomas to give the invocation.
Good morning, everyone. Before I pray, I would just like to pleasantly give honor to and adopt all protocols established. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the lives of everyone present here, for the purpose of which we are gathered here today. Father, we are thankful to everyone who worked tirelessly in making this ceremony possible, in spite of the various odds our country and the world faces. Father, we are grateful for the awardees that are here with us today, and we thank you, Father, for allowing them to impart their knowledge, their training, expertise, and also their valuable contribution to our society and the people of our Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Father, with all reverence and honor, we proclaim your name, and we say today, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Lord, we thank you for this day that you have given us our daily bread. And Father, as we forgive our debts, let us forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, Lord, but forgive us, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. And everyone say, amen. Thank you.
Kindly be seated. Our New Year honorees: Mrs. Josephine Hoggins, Mrs. Hoggins is being awarded the Companion of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, CMG, for her contribution to the public service. Her Honor, Mrs. Hyleta Liebert, M.H., Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, OBE, for her contribution to the public service. Mr. Bert Rawlins, Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, for his contribution to public service and land surveying. Mrs. Vinetta Laws, Member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, MBE, for her contribution to community service and business entrepreneurship. Mr. Colin D Tyrell, Member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, for his contribution to community service. Dr. Leroy Richardson, Member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, for his contribution to medicine. Dr. N. Naldo Bailey, Member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, for his contribution to financial services. Mr. Leroy Brandy, Queen's Police Medal, QPM, for his contribution to policing and leadership. Mrs. Josephine Hoggins, CMG. Mrs. Josephine Hoggins was born in the village of Deerby in St. Kitts and is a graduate of the Bastia Girls High School. She joined the St. Christopher Nevis Public Service in 1960 until 1970 when she emigrated to St. Vincent and the Grenadines with her family. While in St. Vincent, Mrs. Hoggins had her first assignment in the public service as that of a customs and excise officer until she was transferred to the postal services in Kingstown. Later, Mrs. Hoggins was assigned duties at the Inland Revenue Department, and having successfully completed the Commonwealth Tax Officers course in the United Kingdom, she was promoted to the rank of Assistant Comptroller, having the responsibility for the assessing section. Upon early retirement in 1991, she returned to St. Kitts and Nevis and embarked on what would become an illustrious career in entrepreneurship. She immediately established and became the Chief Executive Officer and a Director of the East Caribbean Printers Limited, a business which still exists. Under her stewardship, the printery established and maintained a reputation for reliability, courtesy, and high standards of customer service and satisfaction, coupled with a sterling reputation for moral and ethical standards. After establishing a highly successful and reputable printing business, she founded and simultaneously operated the McTinley Flower Farm, which earned applause in the horticultural landscape of St. Kitts and Nevis. She made a valuable contribution to the tourism industry when the farm eventually became one of the attractions of the island-wide scenic railway tour, a further testament to her business acumen. Her successes as an entrepreneur enabled her to assist the less privileged in her community, which she demonstrated through various philanthropic gestures in schools, churches, and with individuals on a personal level. She is a devoted member of the Methodist community and has held several offices, including Society Steward and Choir Member. In 1996, once again, she became engaged in the public service when she was appointed a member of both the Police and Public Service Commissions and became chair of these commissions in the year 2000. She retained these positions until April 2005. During her tenure as chairperson of the Public Service Commission, she became the ex officio representative of St. Christopher and Nevis on the Judicial and Legal Services Commission of the OECS, where she was recognized for her sterling contribution. In recognition of her vast and distinguished service, in the public service, she was appointed as Cabinet Secretary in the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis. This appointment is of historical significance as she became the first female Cabinet Secretary of our beloved Federation. For approximately 3 years, while carrying the functions of Cabinet Secretary, she had managed oversight for the Citizenship by Investment Unit. She would like to specially express profound thanks to 2 teachers of blessed memory, Mrs. Helen Henville McLean and Mrs. Elise Sebastian Marthol. Mrs. Hoggins was married to Hugh Hoggins, now deceased, and is the proud mother of 3 adult children. Today, everyone, I now invite Mrs. Hoggins to stand as we congratulate her on the companion of the most distinguished order of St. Michael and St. George, a truly inspirational and invaluable public officer.
Her Honor, Mrs. Hailita Miranda Liebert, Deputy Governor General for Nevis, is an educator whose career spanned over 39 years of experience in her field. She's a former principal education officer, head teacher, and classroom teacher. Regardless of the job title she carries, 3 things were always clear: her love of people, especially children, her passion for teaching, and her commitment to ensuring the success of all her students. She's a firm believer that there is good and potential in every child, and no child should ever be left behind. This is evident in her commitment to tutoring children in reading and math, after work hours throughout her career, and during her retirement, and in programs she instituted within the education system during her career. She has also conducted many workshops on various topics associated with education and parenting. First and foremost, she's a child of God and is committed to spreading the message of hope, love, and faith to all who would listen. She's an avid member of her church community and invests significant time leading various youth groups. As church school teacher, youth choir director, youth fellowship leader, and has conducted several youth camps and seminars over the years. Within her home community and beyond, she actively engages in outreach to the mentally challenged and burdened members of our society. Her Honor assumed the role of Deputy Governor General for Nevis in September of 2018, a role which, in her words, she accepted with humility and pride. She views this as an opportunity to serve the people of her beloved island of Nevis more diligently, using her skills of leadership, counseling, and teaching. In her short time as Deputy Governor General for Nevis, she has been very visible in visiting schools, engaging with teachers and students, and visiting the challenged, sick, and shut-in. Family means the world to her. Mutual love and care are evident in the warm relationship that exists between herself, close and extended family members. She's a wife, mother, and grandmother par excellence. Some notable achievements include long, medium, and short-term planning for education, program planning for schools for more effective management, the Teachers Resource Center, the establishment of counseling for primary school students, 2005, St. Christopher and Nevis Medal of Honor, and in 2014, Nevis Island Administration Independence Award for her sterling contribution in the field of education. Today, we acclaim Her Honor, Mrs. Hailita Miranda Libel, Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. Well, Your Honor, could you stand to be acknowledged? Thank you.
Mr. Atil Rawlins, OBE. Atil Cuthbert Rawlins dedicated a substantial portion of his working life to the service of water supply in St. Kitts. He was born in Sandy Point and attended the Bastia Boys School and then later the St. Kitts Nevis and Anguilla Grammar School. After leaving high school, he worked in St. Kitts for 5 years before attending university. From January 1962 until August of the same year, he worked as a bench chemist at the sugar factory. From September 1962 to January 1964, he worked as a clerk in the Audit and Inland Revenue Departments, and in February of 1964 was transferred to the Central Housing and Planning Authority, where he worked until August of 1966 as a student surveyor. Mr. Rawlins traveled to Canada in 1966 to pursue studies at Sir George Williams University, which is now known as Concordia University, in Montreal, Quebec, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. In that same year, he returned to St. Kitts to marry his dear wife, Patricia, who then journeyed with him back to Canada. Mr. Rawlins worked there for a short period before returning home in August of 1973 to assume duties of assistant engineer at the Water Services Department. In September of that same year, he applied for and was granted the license to practice land surveying in St. Kitts and Nevis. In 1976, Mr. Rawlins received a fellowship from the Pan American Health Organization and earned a master's degree in water resources engineering from the University of Houston in Texas. Later, in 1978, he was promoted to water manager and retained this position until August of 2001. Please note this was 2 years after his official retirement in 1999. However, because we just needed his services, Mr. Rawlins returned in July of 2002, where he was once again employed as manager of the Water Supply Improvement Project. There, his services lasted for an additional 3 years. This project did many major projects under watch to serve to improve the water supply and the water infrastructure in St. Kitts. Mr. Rawlins provided creative leadership and always led by example from the front. He encouraged teamwork. The Water Department would demonstrate great efficiency and innovation in carrying out its disaster preparedness plan. The implementing and timing of these exercises prior to and after the passage of hurricanes protected and secured the critical water infrastructure and resources and enabled an expeditious return of the water supply to the country. It has been said that because of the success of these creative innovations, they have subsequently been adopted by other Caribbean water utilities. When he joined the Water Department in 1973, there were only 2 small offices in the Public Works compound, one for the manager, water engineer, and the other for all other senior officers. In 1999, some 26 years later, Mr. Atil Rawlins proudly led the water department into its new premises, a superb edifice situated on 2 acres of land at Needmos. Mr. Rawlins served as chairman of the building board, chairman of the water board, and as a member of the Southeastern Peninsula Development and Conservation Board, as well as the Land Surveying Board. He was also a member of the advisory committee of the Frigate Bay Development Corporation. But Mr. Rawlins is not just a water engineer. He is also a sportsman and a family man. He enjoyed playing soccer and the game of chess. He played soccer in the Premier Division with the iconic Santos Club of the 1960s. In 1978, he represented St. Kitts in Antigua in chess. Both soccer and chess taught him the invaluable lesson of creating plays and moves, which would offer several winning options later in the game. This skill, along with the important lessons of discipline, perseverance, and dedication, taught him to focus his energies and find solutions to various problems that would surface during his tenure as manager, water engineer of the water department. After serving in the water engineering field for over 3 decades, Mr. Rawlins has the distinction of being the longest-serving manager, water engineer in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. In 2007, Mr. Rawlins was honored by his peers when the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association bestowed upon him the Distinguished Service Gold Award at the Caribbean Water Engineers Conference. Mr. Rawlins has been married to his wife, Patricia, for 48 years. This blessed union has been the crown jewel of all his most prized accomplishments. During these years, Patricia has been his best friend and inspiration, his confidant and biggest supporter. Mr. and Mrs. Rawlins share 3 beautiful daughters who continue to bring joy to their youthful lives. Today, ladies and gentlemen, everyone, let us congratulate Mr. Atil Rawlins, Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire.
Mrs. Vinetta Warner Laws, MBE. Mrs. Vinetta Warner Laws was born in the Twin Island Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis to the late Gwendolyn Watty and George Hilton Warner in an era when giving thanks to the Almighty, good manners and caring for others were the fundamental attributes of an upbringing. Therefore, it comes as no surprise that Mrs. Vinetta Warner Laws is now the recipient of this prestigious recognition. From an early age, her mother instilled in her these simple qualities. Mama may have and Papa may have, but blessed is the child who has his own, and sharing is caring. These words and many quotes from the Bible resonate with her, and she not only adopted them as demonstrated in the life she is living, but she also passes them on to her children and grandchildren. She was educated at St. George's School and started her career at SL Hosford before migrating to Canada with her husband. During her time in Canada, she built on the foundation molded by her mother to become the self-sufficient entrepreneur of today. She possessed that passion for giving back to her community, and as such, she volunteered at 2 hospitals, sick children and bakeries, while furthering her studies at Ryerson College. With her financial background, she worked in the finance department of Mile Pharmaceutical Company for 20 years. Subsequently, she decided that the time has come to return home with the intention of giving back to her family, her community, and by extension, her country. This was her way of saying thanks to the Almighty for making it all possible, since her most popular quote is, "Through God, all things are possible." And in 1987, she did return and took up the position of managing director at Warner's One Stop Shop, a family-owned business. She credits her mother for influencing her in the world of cooking at the early age of 13, when she developed the skills of holding her own in the kitchen. And that enabled her to be an integral part when her mother started a catering business. In 1994, convinced of her calling, in addition to being a director of Warner's One Stop, when the cooking bug hit her, she started Netta's Deli on 4th Street, and 25 years later, there are still requests for her food. While she operated Netta's Deli, she lived her childhood dream of caring and sharing for seniors and shut-in and catering for sports clubs in her community, to name a few. She has 2 maternal siblings, Eustace Warner and Lilith Warner Perkins, who are her life pillars, and many paternal siblings. She continuously gives thanks to the Almighty for his many blessings, especially possessing the ability to care and share with others. Today we acclaim Mrs. Vinetta Warner Laws, member of the most excellent order of the British Empire, Miss Vinetta Warner Laws.
Mr. Colin D Tyrell, MBE. Before becoming the small man with the big voice for his energetic and engaging platform speeches in the early years of the Concerned Citizens movement, Colin Tyrell was already a popular Hermitage Road resident, the area where he was born, raised, and currently lives. Whether he was talking or playing cricket, enjoying the masquerade troops, the renowned fife playing of one of Nevis's cultural icons, Mr. Merritt Body, or just shooting the breeze at Pancho's village shop, he exhibited a deep love for all things Nevis from an early age. Taking the sheep and goats to pasture and helping his grandparents to plant and then harvest the yams and potatoes inspired him to champion Nevis's physical beauty, its animals, and instilled an early and lasting appreciation for the environment. A person of the land, he was also one for the books. He was educated at the Gingerland Infant School, later the Gingerland Junior School, and then on to Charlestown Secondary School before joining his family in Canada, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from Toronto's York University. In 1983, he returned to Nevis to join the newly established Nevis Island Assembly. As a member of the civil service, he was able to combine his love of people and his land, in which he was able to foster and administer the policies of a newly independent country. He was responsible for directing the affairs of the Ministry of Culture. As an assistant secretary in the Premier's ministry, he pioneered the development for Vibrant Youth Skills program that resulted in economic benefits for the participants and the island as a whole. He eventually moved to the private sector, conducting eco-tours, sharing his deep knowledge of the land with both tourists and his fellow Nevisians. Colin rejoined the political sphere in 1987 as an early member of the fledgling Concerned Citizen Movement Party, becoming a nominated member. During the period 1992 until 1999, he served as a junior minister with the following portfolios: Community Affairs, Youth and Sports, Culture, and Women's Affairs. During that same period, he was able to represent the Federation in Kenya. In 1999, he returned to Canada and graduated from the University of Windsor Law School before venturing back to Nevis to open his private law firm. 10 years later, he resumed his contribution to Nevis in the cultural and social arenas, where he was then now appointed legal advisor to the Nevis Island administration. Presently, he serves as advisor to the Minister of Culture. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Colin D Tyrell, member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. Mr. Tyrell, please stand so that we can acknowledge your accomplishment.
Dr. Leroy Ernest Richardson, MBE. Dr. Leroy Ernest Richardson was born to parents Seymour Richardson and Bunty Clark. His educational journey started at the Epworth Morris Healy Jr. and the Bastille Boys School. He graduated from the Bastille High School with the class of 1970. After high school, he was employed by TDC Airlines agents for Liat. He was a member of the Defense Force Band, playing the clarinet, and a member of the Elimat and the GI's Brass Orchestra as a saxophonist. Much of his time was also occupied playing cricket at club and club football as goalkeeper. The road to attaining his desire of becoming a medical doctor started in 1976 at the City University of New York, Medgar Evers College in Brooklyn, New York. He graduated with a bachelor's degree in biology. His medical training was at the Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee, USA, where he was awarded the Doctor of Medicine MD degree in 1980. He then went on to complete the family practice residency program at the Morehouse School of Medicine Family Practice Residency Program. In 1986, Dr. Richardson returned to St. Kitts and immediately went into private practice. He has served the Ministry of Health as District Medical Officer for the Mary Charles Hospital in Molyneux, Medical Officer at Her Majesty's Prison, and Medical Officer at the Cardin Home. He has served as a member of the Salvation Army Advisory Board. Dr. Richardson is also a member of the Garden Hotspurs Football Club, having served as Vice President. He has been an executive member since 1986. He's a father of 2 and grandfather of 3, the last of which is just 2 weeks old. As a resident of East Bastille, specifically Frigate Bay, he has involved himself in just about every aspect of community life, inclusive of the health and general well-being of the residents. This is most evident by the recognition he has received both from his church, Hope Chapel, and other community organizations. He has pledged to continue same. Today, we acclaim Dr. Leroy Ernest Richardson, a member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, MBE. Dr. Richardson, could you kindly stand?
Dr. N. Naldo Bailey, MBE. Dr. N. Naldo Bailey is a Kittitian by birth and is the former Chief Executive Officer of the Eastern Caribbean Institute of Banking and Financial Services, which is a training and professional development organization that is focused on the expansion of knowledge capabilities to support quality performance in the field of banking and finance. In addition to his 45-plus years in the field of banking and finance, he is actively involved in real estate development, education, and human organizational development. He holds an associate degree in theology from the Grace Bible Institute. He is a graduate diploma holder in management and possesses a master's in business administration from the University of the West Indies. Dr. Bailey received his Doctor of Divinity degree from the Christian Life Seminary in the USA. He is also a graduate of the Haggai Institute of Leadership in Singapore. In recognition of his outstanding achievement as a JC's chapter president and for his contribution to community development, he was appointed a lifetime senator by Junior Chamber International, JCI. He is also the honorary consul of the Republic of Suriname in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He lives by kingdom principles and seeks to help others realize their full potential and to experience the power of God in their lives. He is an ordained minister at the Pentecostal Church of God, Sadlers, St. Kitts. Dr. Bailey is not just a leader, he is a family man, a community worker, a businessman, and an avid achiever in all that he does. He constantly seeks to challenge others who seem to be self-imposed by their own limitations. So Dr. Bailey wants them to realize their full potential. Here we have Dr. N. Naldo Bailey being awarded the Member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire for his contribution in financial services. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone, Dr. Bailey, kindly stand and congratulations.
Mr. Leroy Patrick Brandy, QPM. Mr. Leroy Patrick Brandy is a serving member of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. He has been a member of that noble law enforcement institution for over 40 years, having enlisted in April of 1981. Having graduated in 1981 from his initial police training, he worked at several departments, units, and stations during general policing. In 1988, he was adjudged the Constable of the Year in the first and only Constable Award for the Federation. In 1992, while giving evidence at court, he impressed the then Commissioner of Police, Mr. Stanley Franks, with his investigative skills and delivery that caused him to be transferred to the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, immediately. While there, he truly distinguished himself and made a name for himself in policing. He successfully investigated, supervised, and prosecuted several major crimes, including Warrington Phillip murder appeal at the Privy Council. During his 18 years at CID, he moved up the ranks from corporal to inspector of police. As the officer in charge of the department, he received extensive training from numerous agencies, including the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, Caribbean Anti-Money Laundering Program, Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, the National Drug Intelligence Center in Canada, to name a few. He left the department in 2010 when he assumed the command position of the Nevis Division. In 2002, He was a member of the St. Kitts Nevis Financial Investigation Unit and the Financial Intelligence Unit, and conducted numerous sensitive financial investigations on the behalf of several foreign countries and agencies. As a result of these assistance, St. Kitts and Nevis was removed from the OECD, FSF, and FATF blacklists. He is a recipient of the following service medals: the Independence Medal, Long Service and Good Conduct Medal, and the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal. He has also joined a list of acclaimed persons on the occasion of the first Brooklyn Reunion Banquet in 2010, when he was presented with the prestigious Distinguished Alumni and Leadership Award for Law Enforcement in recognition for the leadership he had provided in the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. Mr. Leroy Brandy acted as Commissioner of Police from October 2018 and was appointed Commissioner of Police in June of 2019. Today, Mr. Leroy Patrick Brandy is awarded the Queen's Police Medal, QPM, for his long and meritorious service in the field of policing. Mr. Leroy Patrick Brandy, QPM. Could you kindly stand? I now invite our Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, to come and give us some some remarks, sorry.
Your Excellency, our esteemed Governor General, I want to crave your leave, sir, to adopt the protocol so ably set before me. Save I wish to acknowledge the Cabinet colleagues in the Honorable Jean Hamilton, the Honorable Attorney General, Mr. Vincent Byron, Excellencies of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, the honorees and their families and well-wishers who are here. This is a great day, and only last week, or was it earlier this week, Tuesday, that we were here giving recognition and due honor to some of our outstanding citizens of the Federation. We come today again. So something good must be happening in our Federation when we can come this often and to find well-deserving persons for their award. Let's give all 8 of our honorees today a special round of applause. It is a great pleasure for me to be given this special privilege by His Excellency to address this gathering. And although he has afforded me that privilege many times before now, today is somewhat even more special because I know each of the 8 awardees, and for me they are very special persons. So I feel a special delight. We have just witnessed our Governor General conferring our New Year's honors on 8 outstanding sons and daughters of the soil. The New Year in our culture is often a time of great hope and happiness. The awards conferred on you, the honorees today, will no doubt bring you much happiness and certainly should bring a touch of joy to your families, some of whom are gathered here today. These honors also serve, in my view, as a powerful example for others in our community that we can hope for a better future, and any one of us has the power to make that future happen. Our recipients today heard the call to service, and they answered it, and they serve extremely well. We gather here for this investiture ceremony for the New Year's honors, and we must be mindful of the importance and the far-reaching potential of such recognition and awards. It is not just the personalities here who we celebrate. We celebrate, importantly, their service, their commitment, their contribution that they would have individually and collectively made. Service, commitment, and contributions that we would agree would have advanced the growth and development of St. Kitts and Nevis and its people. As we revere today's awardees, we see that they come from a wide spectrum of society and the varying areas to which they would have contributed. This too is of great significance and importance. In less than a month, we will be celebrating here in St. Kitts and Nevis National Heroes Day, and shortly thereafter, our own Independence Anniversary. Another proud occasion for all of us. But we have heard the debate over the years, especially on National Heroes Day, that only politicians have gotten the honor. Here we celebrate and recognize the achievements and contributions, not just from public service, but from all areas of societal advancement. Indeed, anybody in St. Kitts and Nevis can have a recommendation made for a national to receive any of our honors. This ensures that even the many people who are not in the public eye are recognized for their invaluable service and contribution to nation building, whether to charity, to the arts, to industry or profession, or even just to their community at large. We see that diversity in the role of today's awardees. We honor Mrs. Josephine Hoggins, her honor Mrs. Hailita Liebert, Mr. Bert Rawlins, Mrs. Vinetta Laws, Mr. Colin D Tyrell, Dr. Leroy E Richardson, Dr. Naldo Bailey, and Mr. Leroy Brandy. They are being recognized for outstanding and exemplary service, commitment, and contributions in public service, in land surveying, community service, business and entrepreneurship, medicine, financial service, policing, and leadership. This should be an inspiration to us all, that in whatever we may choose, whatever be our calling as a profession or occupation, we too can make the kind of impact that builds our country and brings this kind of high honor and recognition. The key, though, is to begin with the mindset of service and commitment, and the contributions will follow and flow to be recognized. Modest as these ceremonies may be, they are critical in defining who we are, who are our exemplars, and the kind of society which we in St. Kitts and Nevis are creating. In my view, every nation needs its own role models whose successes and achievements inspire others to do and to become the best that they can be. I commend our esteemed Governor General, Sir Tapley Seaton, a man with an immense understanding and appreciation of our history, for ensuring that these ceremonies are held regularly in public and have become part of our history and, of course, posterity. Even coming to this historic landmark government house, the home of the colonial powers and administration, in my view, is replete with meaning, replete with symbolism, and pregnant with aspiration. This place once excluded our people and was welcoming only to a special few, based on privileged connections. Today we come here, all of us, irrespective of class, creed, or other socioeconomic divide, because it, Government House now, is our very own. For this, I record my thanks to the epic struggles of our forefathers who have won the battle for self-determination and independence for us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Thanks to the hero in us, we are aspiring to build a stronger and safer future, not just for ourselves, our inheritors, and our successors. Today, we acknowledge all 8 awardees, and I thank them profusely for their long and meritorious service. We acknowledge their fields, their excellence in fields vital to our nation's progress and development. Moreover, as humans, appreciation and recognition are powerful motivators, leading to an increase in performance, productivity, morale, retention, and overall satisfaction. So the further importance of events such as these are that while we are recognizing those who have contributed or are in the waning years of contributing in specific fields, we will hopefully inspire the next generation to exhibit the same service and commitment, which will lead to exemplary contributions. For the continued growth and development of our country, we must look to light new beacons. If we are successful, we will have a culture of service and commitment coupled with a culture of recognition. On behalf of a grateful nation, as Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, I again extend heartfelt thanks for our individual and collective service, commitment, and contributions. And again, I ask for another round of applause for our honorees for their contribution to nation building. As we endeavor towards that stronger and safer future, we hold you up, all 8 of you, 5 males and 3 females, as examples of the kinds of service, commitment, and contributions that St. Kitts and Nevis will need, especially so in the face of the challenges of the pandemic. More so than ever, our country will need exceptional sons and daughters to rise to the highest heights if we are to be more successful in overcoming all of the challenges of today and those that tomorrow will bring. May your example of service and our example of recognition yield more persons to be recognized in the near future. Again, to you, our honorees, this honor you are well deserved enough. In the era of gender sensitivity, we certainly do appreciate that 3 of our 8 awardees are outstanding females. I want to thank them all, give them a special hand. Miss Vinetta Laws, my good friend. Her Honor, Mrs. Hailita Liberd, MH, and of course, the first appointee as a female to the cabinet of our Federation, Mrs. Josephine Hoggins. Give them again a special hand. They have reached to the zenith of national recognition. So henceforth, when we call their names, we shall say, Mrs. Josephine Hoggins, CMG, and we know that is for recognition of her outstanding service in the public service. And interestingly, her career path took her to high positions, not just in her born-in land, but in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In some respects, she is truly a Caribbean person, but a patriot of St. Kitts and Nevis by heart. Her Honor, Mrs. Hailita Liberd, M.H., OBE, for outstanding contribution to public service, and the class and the dignity and humility that had always abound in everything you do. Madam Liberd, we say thank you. Sometimes in a quiet way, as I see her from time to time at church, at official occasions, she would come and gently say to me in a soothing way, so nice to see you. And she share her love. So I want to say thank you for making me feel very special, not only when I'm in my father's land at Nevis, but each occasion that we meet. Give her again a special hand. Mr. Bert Rawlins, OBE, for his contribution to public service and land surveying. A gentleman who, growing up, I always thought was a quiet person. And he, however, has been a consummate public servant, doing the best that he always could for his country, without looking for reward or attention. The vanity of those things never appealed to him. I want to commend you, sir, for all you have done for the country. And the biography spoke well of the diverse areas in which you have contributed to national development at Frigate Bay, around the country, pioneering work. I want, on behalf of all of us, and especially the many who work under your tutelage at our water department, to say thank you very, very much. Give Mr. Rawlins, OBE, round of applause. Mrs. Vinetta Laws, MBE, we thank you for your contribution to community service and for business entrepreneurship. Thank you very much for being my friend, and thank you very much for the pioneering service you and your family brought in dry cleaning and other services, and preventing us from having to send abroad for our trophies, etc., etc. We thank you and we commend you for all that you have done and will continue to do for our country. Could we give Mrs. Vinetta Laws, MBE, another hand of applause? Mr. Colin D Tyrell, MBE, we thank you, sir, for your multifaceted contribution to our country, and in particular for the developments in Nevis. The man who in some way gave you advice and support has come, our senior ambassador, Mr. Vance Amri. and I know that he would like the occasion to say a few words, but time will not allow us. But we want him, as a senior statesman here, of course, you to know that he has made this special journey because he feels so specially proud of you and the contribution that you have given so selflessly to the people by your example, by your courage, by your fulsome participation, and your willingness to serve wherever you are beckoned to. So thank you again, and we give you another round of applause. Dr. Leroy Richardson, MBE, we thank you for your contribution to health and indeed in community development. And I perhaps miss a bit because I didn't hear reference to your long service at the Tabernacle Community Center. So I want to record that and to ask the insertion of that service which you gave to my community of Tabernacle in your years when you practiced there, and to say for your long and meritorious service to our country, your affable personality, and your commitment to do all that you can to advance our people. I must make particular mention of your service to the prison ministry, which is critical, because the prisoners are part of our family, our friends, and a critical resource to continue to assist us in national development. And that is why we are implementing programs for rehabilitation. Too small a country, too small to lose anyone. And that is why we continue to invest in alternative programs to allow our people an opportunity to redeem themselves. We do it out of love and out of appreciation that no country as small as ours should exclude or cancel the contribution of any other. So thank you again, Dr. Leroy Richardson. Mr. Naldo Bailey, MBE, we thank you for your outstanding contribution to financial services and banking in particular. Let's give Dr. Naldo Bailey a special round of applause. And we note also that you're not just involved in the business of financial management, but you have given your life to God. And that, of course, is remarkable. So we hope when we come to your financial institutions, we will get the lowest interest rate and the best of service and financial management. I want to thank you, and we share Pastor Gilfillan in common. He is your father-in-law, and he is my adopted father. So it is a pleasure for me to be here with you as you receive this national honor and recognition. Mr. Leroy P. Brandy, QPM, our Commissioner of Police, has provided outstanding leadership in policing for over, 40 plus years, 40? Mm-hmm. And so we owe him a debt of gratitude. And we note largely that under his tenure, the country continues to achieve some of the lowest crime rates in its recent history. And so we commend you for keeping us safe. I want to say that some time back when we brought in the advisors from Bams Hill in the UK, we asked, because they were responsible for helping us in reorganizing the police force in directorates, developing policy, providing support for the documentation of crime scenes, etc., and all that we needed to do. And when we asked them about leadership, they told us that the best that we had was Mr. Brandy. And so I want to say that their judgment was a good one. He, having become the Commissioner of Police, he has not failed the country in his crime-fighting prowess. And I want to thank him and his high command for superb leadership again. In his own humble style, when I asked him about who should lead the police force, Mr. Brandy chicken out. Mr. Brandy named another. But that in itself was a good thing, because he was able to see, and he was able to learn, and he came to the job with this vast experience over all areas of policing, and he has been able to use it to good effect for our country and our people. So, Mr. Brandy, again, congratulations, and we are proud of you. Finally, a round of applause for Mr. Brandy. In conclusion, we are a young nation, and we have a wonderful future to look forward to. You, the awardees, are very much the architects of that future. Your example is particularly important to our younger generation. How we harness that future and the role our young people can play in it will need to be shaped. And for that, we will depend on you. Your service shows there are benefits to yourselves, to the community, by dedicating yourself to your cause and seeing it through. And we hope that this example of selfless service, this example of high patriotism, this example of resilience, this example of not being pulled by the vanity of titles and the vanity of money will inspire the young people of St. Kitts and Nevis to write a new and interesting chapter about nation building, to write a new and empowering chapter of how our young people at the time of the country's greatest need rose to the occasion and did what needed to be done to advance St. Kitts and Nevis to a higher calling and to a better place. May God's richest blessings be on all of us. And may God, our Father, continue to find favor with our country and our people. And may He continue to bless and protect us, even at this time of global challenge and difficulty associated with COVID-19. To God we give all glory, and we thank Him for providing you as examples to all of us, and to the younger generation in particular, that they, if they are determined, they, if they are committed, can take us to that stronger and safer future that beckons us as a people. God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, for those inspiring words. And indeed, we are so grateful to have such an illustrious set of persons as citizens of this proud Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis. So thank you, and thank you. We are now at the end of the investiture ceremony. I would like to invite everyone to now stand for the playing of the national anthem. on behalf of our Governor General, His Excellency Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton, GCMG CVO QC JP LLD, we would like to thank you for sharing with us here at Government House. We are now going to invite our honorees to take some photos with His Excellency, and please note that there will be some light refreshments for you to take on your way out. We are so glad that you are here to be with us. Once again, to the New Year honorees, congratulations. And do, everyone, please remain safe and get home safely.